So you're looking to change your life, but to be honest, you are a little scared, right? Well, my name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite, where we discover possibilities and ignite change. And here at Discover Ignite, what I like to do is provide you guys tools and techniques to help grow and better your lives. And if that sounds like something you are interested in, remember to subscribe and hit the like button if you do enjoy this video. Now, changing your life can be hard. Changing your whole life can require you to be a bit brave. It can require you to step out of your comfort zone. It can require you to maintain certain standards that you set yourself, essentially to improve your life. Now, this seems like a lot, right? And it can be a lot, but from what I've noticed in my life and through the experiences I've had, you know, sitting and waiting and being comfortable is when you don't grow. And that in itself can be extremely frustrating, because I know for the longest time I sat and I waited. And for whatever I waited for, I don't really know what I was waiting for, right? I didn't know what I was waiting for. I was assuming that perhaps something in life would come up and improve my life. Out of the blue, I mean, I don't know what it would have been. Maybe I would have won the lottery. Maybe it would have been some random person that says, hey, I like who you are. I'm just going to make things a lot better for you, right? A lot of times we could dream about this stuff. But the truth is, those kind of things don't happen, right? And if they do happen, they're few and far in between. And the chances that you or I whatever have something like that happen are extremely rare, right? Unless we actually do something about it. But when you try to do something, when you try to make a change in your life, it can be extremely hard. You feel like whatever that change is might go against what other people think. Perhaps you've been around, perhaps your environment. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios in which you can be extremely fearful of making that change. Maybe it's even a relationship, right? Maybe you fear that you were done with the relationship, but you don't want to quite take that next step because you feel that for whatever reason, you know, you've invested all this time and stuff, but yet you're so miserable that you can't even, you know, go day to day without feeling some sort of frustration, some sort of, you know, anger or whatever the case is. You just don't like the environment you're in, right? And the biggest thing is to find whatever it is and realize that you need to be done with it. You need to take that next step. And a lot of times taking the next step, you know, we can hesitate when it comes to that point where we know we have to take that next step. We can become extremely fearful, and we'll start backing out and telling ourselves, now's not the time, now's not the time, we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna do this. And a lot of times, you know, we fail to execute. And then when we do that, the change never occurs, right? And then we figure out, well, it'll just be another day, something will come up. And then, you know, a lot of times we don't implement those changes, or we feel like it's just too much of a change that we can't keep it going. We can't stay motivated. And some of the best changes, you know, in life are some of the hardest changes you'll ever have to make, right? Some of the hardest changes, if it's lifestyle change, if you're trying to become a healthier person, right? That's a major lifestyle change. You have to adjust a lot of stuff, but you want to adjust it to the point to where it's maintainable, right? You don't want to do anything crazy, right? When it comes to, especially when it comes to like health and stuff like that. And that's kind of one of those topics where you have to really be committed to whatever that lifestyle is. You have to understand that you're going to choose a lifestyle in which is actually going to benefit you and not be some temporary fix, right? And making that change can be hard, right? Because you're more fearful of what you're giving up as opposed to what you're actually getting out of the whole thing. And that in itself can be extremely hard, right? Because we, again, try to hold on to those things that we're losing as opposed to focusing on all those things that we're gaining, right? You could be gaining your health back. You could be, gaining mental clarity back. You could be, not being in pain. You could be, not short of breath, right? Now, is that worth giving up, maybe that pizza, every other day, or whatever the case is? Right now, I myself, I ate horribly, and I was willing to give up that stuff, right? Because it meant more what I was actually gaining, right? The return on investment was way better than what it was for, per se, that pizza, or, eating red meat like every couple days, whatever the case was, just eating horribly bad. And I do bring up health a lot, but health is an important thing. But when it comes to any kind of change, it's the same way in life, right? Any change worth having in your life always comes with some sort of fear and some sort of hardship. And you have to be courageous to take that step, right? Like I said, you have to be courageous when it comes to that point where as soon as you step over that line, you've essentially set things in motion, and then you realize that, well, now I got to keep this thing in motion, right? You set that ball rolling, you keep it in motion, but ultimately it may seem hard, but the benefits are so much worth it, right? Like, there'd be days when you really don't feel like it, like keeping up specific things in your life that to try to implement that change. But when you start implementing this change, this is why routine and a lot of stuff helps, right? It helps you realize that this is your normal routine, so you get used to it, right? It doesn't say that motivation is always there. The motivation isn't always there, but you have to realize that when you are comfortable, you start becoming miserable, right? And you actually start picking apart a lot of the things that you once truly enjoyed about specific things, and you kind of just dissect your world in a point to where, you make yourself so miserable because you are fighting more to be secure and not have change, as opposed to going and growing by doing specific changes, right? Doing those hard changes that you really want, but yet we hold on to those hard things or those easier things because we don't want to dedicate too much time into something, right? And you realize maybe we don't like that change, which is perfectly okay, because if you don't like that change, that's perfectly fine, but don't stop there, right? You should find some change that you're going to enjoy and incorporate that and keep that going. That's ultimately it. Like, you have to keep experiencing new things, and you'll eventually find something, right? Because you'll be like, well, yeah, I've tried a lot, but you know what? I'm just not, right? I'm just not enjoying any of these changes I'm trying to implement. And that in itself, it can be hard, right? But you will find something. I guarantee you, if you keep trying different things and experimenting with different things, you will find it. And then you'll be willing to put in that hard work to keep that maintaining and going. And to be honest, it may seem like hard work now, but you'll eventually get to a point to where it doesn't even feel like work, right? I mean, yeah, there are times when I do a lot, right? Like, I like going 200 miles an hour. That's just the way I am. That's just my mentality, right? But the thing is when you look at it from the top down, right, it can seem like a crazy hectic day, but you strive in that, right? It's whatever you're doing, right? You strive in that chaos, right? You enjoy the chaos when you're enjoying what you're doing, when you're enjoying your work, you're enjoying that change in your life that you've implemented. And it doesn't seem like work. It doesn't seem so hard. Initially it will be, because you're trying to break a lot of different routines and habits and a bunch of those bad things that you just don't want in your life anymore. And when you do that, you become dedicated, and you get to a point where you look back and you're like, man, I've come a long way, and I am not going back, right? Yeah, you'll have days here and there where you might slip. That's okay, that happens. So as long as you make sure you're back on track, right? And stay focused, stay dedicated to that thing why you started. And you realize that you really start enjoying it, and it becomes this game to where, man, I've challenged and I've achieved that thing I once thought was really hard, right? I thought it was extremely hard, and I got it. I achieved it. What's the next thing? That's what you do. And you realize you keep doing this and you keep developing yourself and you become a better and better person because of this. And you get over that whole threshold of it's too hard. You enjoy it being hard, right? Because once you achieve it, then you realize, man, I am actually capable of a lot more than I thought I was. And that's ultimately what it's worth. So if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to hit that like button on the way out. And until next time, remember, good hard change is worth growth. See you guys later.